noise.
Some noise from here.
I don't know. It's like something is almost like the wind or something.
Okay, I think it's the fan.
Ah,
Let me
okay.
help you down.
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll send you the link and then we can share on the social graphs.
Okay.
Don't mind if I look up. I have another screen. I sent you the link on Facebook. Let me share on my wall too.
Okay. Yeah. It just came in.
Okay. Please join and share. Alrighty. I shared on my wall.
Okay. Great.
Mashallah. So, Gaisha minor-in-law, or you minor-in-law?
No, she did. I took law as a major, and I took journalism as a minor. So she was doing women and gender studies, and
Mhm.
she would minor in law. So that's how I got to know her, and all of a sudden we just started watching her on TV. Uh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, we're in school, always, always see her come to class. And one thing that was peculiar about her, she used to have this kind of crazy hairstyle that only
Yeah.
her
Like a mad
would have it.
scientist. Like a mad
you know,
scientist. Yeah, I see.
I,
Yeah.
I tell you. So, but she used to be very, very interesting girl. That kind of a girl that everybody would love to be around her. Very
Mhm.
jovial, lively, and
Yeah.
yeah. All of a sudden, we just started watching her on TV. You
Okay.
know, we were not even seeing her in school anymore, just
Yeah.
on TV.
Reality kicked in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I see. Mashallah. Well, and Nelson, welcome. This is Topo. I think I contacted you a while ago. So we should just chat. Normally, it's a space where we just discuss, and the idea is to like expose rough work, because a lot of people that create stuff today, pretty much everyone, it could be a picture or whatever you post online or in a blog on Netflix, or no matter depending on the doors you're opening, if that makes any sense at all. So a lot of us, when we interface with content creators, it's at the level of consumption. That's we're there to just consume the finished products. People don't see the rough work. So the
That's right.
main philosophy here is just to have these conversations with each other so we can know more about each other, see the rough work. That way, perhaps empathy can be increased. Let's say if you discuss with Jovi and you understand that he too wakes up in the morning like everyone, he too can be afraid of failing and he too can hustle. Then the kid who is somewhere in Bokwai may not feel depressed by thinking that, oh, why do I feel afraid? It's just a normal thing. Even Fali, Pupa, and the rest will tell you. Some days they're doubting. So things like that.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's the essence, pretty much about all of this.
That's right. And I must say, I'm happy to be here with you this moment. And I remember we talked some time ago. It's been long though. We
Mm-hmm.
talked some time ago, and we really had this discussion concerning Topper.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember, I really commended what you're doing already, and
Mashallah.
I was kind of looking forward to being with you. And it's just a pleasure that I'm with you presently, so we
Mashallah.
can talk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man. And so
Yeah, bro.
actually, I noticed that like online, you're very fiery. I mean, in a positive way. Like you produce the content you produce. You seem you have a series, right? That you write. There's some content that you write. Yeah,
Exactly.
mostly when I have time,
Exactly.
I zoom into it, and I always leave with something. There's always either some piece of knowledge or it's a feeling that is impressed on my mind whenever I read it. And then the pictures too that you put, like it was very beautiful ladies, dark ladies in particular. So I always look at it. I'm like,
Yeah, bro.
man. I'm sure sometimes I comment. I'm like, whoa, it's really. Then what is your motivation behind that? And the series, it seems like you've been doing it for a while because you're at I think XX, almost like 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm actually at the fourth. Tomorrow I'll be doing the 42nd episode,
mashallah.
and this is just the first volume or the first season of it because
Mm,
you know, since the beginning of 2020, I've kind of it's like something just came over me, and there were a lot of questions I kind of grew up asking myself, you
yeah.
know, and I was trying to get a lot of answers about who I am, my reality as a black person.
Uh-huh.
So I was doing a lot of stuff before 2020. Like I told you, I was into I was actually managing a platform
Yeah.
that was based on music intelligence, music strategy, and all that.
Okay.
And with the beginning of 2020, I started getting a lot of answers of these questions that I just told you that I was I was asking while growing up. I started getting a lot of these answers,
Yeah.
and I continued doing a lot of research. It just dawned on me that I had to kind of start passing out this knowledge about black reality to other blacks worldwide, to kind of inspire them, get them to know our own reality, get them to know our own reality, and what actually make us who we are.
Yeah. I see.
If you ask a black person like, why are you black? He would not know. There are many people who would not know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you black? Why do you think you're a black person? And
You mean
there are many
spiritually,
black
scientifically, uh,
scientifically and
someone is
otherwise.
colorblind, blind, someone is colorblind.
You
Hmm. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Oh, I think the network. Yeah, so I think Nelson had like a network issue there, but he'll be back soon as. Yeah, so today we're live with Nelson Lomude. He's a content creator. That's just like being abstract. He's a content creator, and we've been chatting recently about cryptocurrencies and is it Tradex? They call it trading. So I just asked him if he would like to have us chat like on top of so that others can learn or maybe help contribute to the whole thing. So whatever we're saying, if there are people that know more about cryptocurrencies or even trading, they can let us know. So he accepted and he was here and dropped out. So I think it's a network. He'll be back soon. So I beg your indulgence to just hold on a little. And feel free, please to post comments, participate as much as you can. Thanks. But on that part, I for one am very interested in cryptocurrencies. They emerged, I think, about 2011, and by 2017, Bitcoin in particular took the world by storm, and the price probably rose to $20,000 for one coin. A lot of people saw it like magic, but I guess at that time it was late for some of us to get in. But it's a very interesting technology that can help in terms of development. Even those of us in Africa, if we use it to build systems, I will discuss about it during this episode. If we use it to build systems, I guess it can help inspire development. Acon in particular already has his crypto network, and yeah, I think it's making waves. Let me actually share my screen. Show that. So Acon. Where's Acon? Here you go. Okay, we should have this now on screen. Yeah. So in terms of cryptocurrency, before Nelson comes back, this is a coin. A coin is actually this dude is smart. He's actually working on a cryptocurrency platform, and a technology is CD, a high tech CD. I think the CD is in Senegal. Where is that? But if you go to acoin.io, you can see a lot of detail about the endeavor. back. I can stop sharing. Yeah. Can you hear me? Hey, Nelson, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Can you hear
can.
me?
Yes, I can. You had a network issue, or is a village people that were behind you?
Bro, Cameroon. This the network situation in Cameroon, right, is not that stable.
Yeah, I
It's
see.
not that stable. Yeah.
What city are
So
you in?
what
What city?
what
Boya,
what
Limbe, Douala.
bro, if you know where I am presently, I'm in the north of Cameroon. I came here
North.
like
Oh wow.
a week ago.
Garwa.
I was in Yaoundé. I was in Yaoundé, yeah, I'm in Garwa. So I came up to Garwa
Wow.
for
I
a thing or two.
I have to
Maybe
visit
heading
Garwa.
down
That's where I was
very.
born. I was born
Are
in
you
Garwa.
serious?
Yeah. Yeah, I was born in Garwa, man. I have to visit it. Man, my wife is actually from the north, Marwa, and I have to visit it.
Wow.
She's from, I think it's far north. Yeah.
Wow.
I love the north, man. I have
Okay,
to visit
okay.
all of that area. Yeah.
No, I love this place, bro. This place is cool. Life is simple, yeah, and life is very, very affordable, you know.
Oh wow. Did you
Yeah,
like
this place
move
is
there,
cool.
or would you like to move
No,
there?
no, no, no. I just came here for a trip. I'll be going back very soon.
Okay, I see. It's a
Yeah,
place I would love to
yeah.
visit. But anyway, you were talking about some pertinent things about being black and how all these questions that you've been asking, you were at the point where some answers were coming and you were inspired to share them. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So I was trying to make a point that presently
Hmm.
I am part of a movement called the Organic African Paradigm.
Okay.
And this organic African paradigm, the main purpose of this movement is to decolonize black people worldwide and transform them.
Uh-huh.
Once you're totally decolonized, you're transformed and you're empowered. And there is a procedure that we're using to go about this.
Yeah.
We're using what we call uh, three dimensions of intelligence, soul, and science.
Yeah.
So we try to decolonize you scientifically
Hmm.
using our intelligence and also using the soul, that is the spirit,
Yeah.
to make you understand everything and why you need to be decolonized. Presently, we have, we started the movement in June of this year, June 2020,
Yeah.
and up to now, we've reached uh we've reached about, bro, it's over 10,000, close to 15,000 people already,
Okay. Oh wow.
blacks all over the world, from the Caribbean, North America,
Hmm.
Europe, and on the continent itself. So it's it's a it's a movement that is growing. And one thing about the movement is that these people that we have reached, once they get to listen to the teachings, the lectures, they feel like, you know, when you've been expecting something, your soul has been yearning for something for a very long time,
Yeah.
and you haven't been having it. At a time that you get to listen to something like that,
Hmm.
you feel a kind of, you have this feeling that is greater than happiness. You feel happy, but you cannot
Yeah.
kind of describe that feeling because it's greater than happiness.
Yeah, I
So this
see.
is what has been going on. This is what has been going on since June, and presently, I just decided now to, with the kind of transformation that happened in my own life,
Yeah.
I decided to bring about the independent thought series that I'm currently doing on my timeline.
Yeah.
And I've been talking about black empowerment. I've been talking about the need for us to decolonize. I've been, you know, I talk about everything black, then talk about
Uh-huh.
psychology too, philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because what we know today as philosophy, Western philosophy, there is nothing in existence as Western philosophy. But many people don't know. This is because, all these philosophers that we call them great, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Pythagoras, all of them, there is nothing that they brought new. And this is because we never knew. These are people that got their teachings from Egypt in ancient Kemet.
Yeah.
Everything they knew, you
Mm-hmm.
know, was taught to them in Egypt by black people.
Yeah.
So it is actually, black people brought about what we know today as philosophy. We should be talking about African philosophy. There shouldn't be anything as Western philosophy. It's just that along the way, a lot of things happened, right? And they had to get us out of the way
Yeah.
of everything, basically everything.
Yeah, I see.
So that is one of the reasons I started the Independent Thought Series so that I'm able to make people realize many of the things that they haven't realized about our reality as
Mm-hmm.
Black people and the kind of greatness that we've always had as a people. We think that we're backward, but no, a lot of things in the world came about because of us.
Yeah, right.
You
I
know,
see.
they-
Yeah.
yeah, many of the things that we know today that we think uh, we are giving credit to the wrong people
Yeah.
actually came about because of us, our ancestors.
Yeah, I
So
see.
a
I see.
knowledge of that, if we get just that knowledge, it will make us great. When you get that knowledge, just that knowledge now, it gives you a kind of confidence, it gives you a kind of greatness that was lacking.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So
I see.
when you look at every black person on earth presently,
Uh-huh.
there is a when you look at every black person on earth presently, it doesn't matter how rich the person is or how educated the person is. There is always that that kind of questions that his spirit is asking. His soul is yearning for something, no matter how rich you are. And if you have not gotten this, you will not kind of experience total peace in your life, no matter how what you've achieved in life. I'm saying this because first,
Yeah.
we are a people on earth that we've gone through a lot, and
Yeah, I
just
see.
like
Mm-hmm.
just like any other body, I've been asking these questions, right? And I believe that every other black on the earth has been asking these questions too. Like, why do we have to go through this?
Yeah,
Why?
right. I
Why
see.
only us? Why slavery? Why colonialism? Why this? Why this? Why that? So at the end of the day, there are a lot of questions. And if you are not able to get an answer for one of them, no
Yeah.
matter how, what you've achieved, bro, your soul will always be yearning for something. And how do we achieve this? We achieve this by taking a step backward into our history,
Mm-hmm.
original history, not the history that is being taught to us by Europeans. The
Yeah.
Europeans cannot teach us our history, bro.
Yeah, right. It doesn't make
What
sense.
they teach us, is what
Yeah.
they want us to know.
Mm-hmm.
And they want us to know only about slavery because when we know about that, it demoralizes us, it demoralizes us.
It's
And
very heavy. Yeah, I
they
see.
don't want us to know. Yeah, they don't want us to know how great we were and how great we are. I'm currently reading a book presently, bro. It is titled Melanin. The title of the
Uh,
book is Melanin by Dr. Leila Africa.
okay.
And that melanin, it gives you the reason why black people are black
Yeah.
and how you can nourish your melanin and how you're different from any other person on earth.
Yeah, I see.
So many people see us black, they think that is a curse, bro. But blackness represents greatness, bro. We are the
Mashallah.
greatest people here. I cannot lie to you. The
Mashallah.
greatest
Yeah,
people.
I see. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm just trying to do with the independent thought series, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like I said, I'll be releasing the 42nd episode tomorrow,
Yeah.
and I want to round up with the volume one after the 50th episode. There
Okay.
are actually some episodes that I don't release online. I'm just going to release when I've compiled all of them, and I'll
Okay.
send out to people
Yeah.
because
Awesome. Yeah.
ones that I just feel like if I send them online, it will cause a lot of chaos. So
Yeah. Well, decolonization is a violent process. I think it's Franz Fanon that said that, and even if you see what I mean.
yeah, bro.
Yeah. Wow, that's actually amazing. Like to start this whole movement with such an ambitious goal. Or goal, sorry.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Actually, what is it that really cost you to start it? What exactly? Because normally it could be a whole chain of results or a whole chain of questions that you had been asking. But there's probably something that happened that made you to make that first precise step. So starting the actual organization. What was it?
Exactly. So first of all, I would say I'm this kid. I used to be this kid who asked a lot of questions
Mm-hmm.
since when I was small.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my mother told me one day that when I was about 6 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I called her and I called my father. I sat them together. We were just the three of us. Like we
uh,
were we were in a room, like all of us, with my siblings. That I called the two of them, and we went to another section of the house. We sat down, and I started asking them a lot of questions. Like I was just asking questions,
uh,
and she told me that my dad was surprised. How would this kid just be asking me all these questions? How did he even know about these things that he's asking me all these questions?
mm-hmm.
So I've always been that kind of a kid that I asked a lot of questions. I
Mm-hmm.
really need to know my reality in a world that, you know, I am being referred to as a nobody. And I wanted to like know why black people are being treated the way they're being treated presently
Yeah.
globally.
Yeah, I see.
There is a lot of racism. I wanted to know why black people are being treated like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to know why black women in particular, are being treated the way they are being treated.
Yeah.
So it led me into these studies, and I must tell you that
Yeah.
what I found, bro, is greatness. Is greatness.
Please feel free to give us as much detail as possible so that I, for one, I would love to leave this chat like
Uh,
enlightened. Yeah.
okay. The first thing we would want to understand is that black people, first of all, are the original inhabitants of the earth.
Okay.
There was a time that only the blacks were on earth and no other race was on earth
Mm-hmm.
except the black. And we were scattered everywhere on earth. We're in Africa. Africa was our main base,
Mm-hmm.
but we were also stationed in India or the Middle East, what we call today the Middle East, because that is still an extension of Africa.
Yeah.
In the ancient days, that was Africa, an extension of Africa,
Yeah, they used to
in the
actually call
middle.
all of it Libya. But anyway, sorry, continue. Hmm. There are some parts,
Yeah,
like even
so
in the Bible, yeah, I think it's in the book of Kings. If you read like Kings, that part, you even Alexander the Great is mentioned there. So there is yeah, back in those times they used to just mention call all of Africa like Libya, and even with that,
uh,
yeah, other side. Yeah, sorry, continue. I was
yeah,
just tickled to
so
add that. Yeah.
so you get to understand that when the black people were on Earth, just them,
Hmm.
they had this intelligence that is being called the fluid intelligence, the fluid intelligence, and this intelligence is the natural intelligence of the universe. This is the intelligence that the universe operates upon.
Okay.
Because why is it being called a fluid intelligence? It is called like that because it is like water. Water does not have an end. It keeps flowing and it evolves. It may reach here and it takes a new path. But
Yeah.
all is that it will not stop. So that is the fluid intelligence that black people had, which enabled them now to be able to manifest what we see in Egypt as the greatest civilization that ever existed.
Hmm.
What we see in Egypt, that fluid intelligence permitted them to manifest that in Egypt.
Okay.
So, but why would black people? The question will be why would black people have the natural intelligence of the universe? That should tell you something. The black people are the people of the universe. These are the original beings of the earth. They were sent here for a purpose. And when you go with the teachings of the organic African paradigm, you
Yeah.
understand that the black people were sent here to develop the earth and to take the civilization from here and also go and take this civilization to other planets. You see
Mashallah.
today, right?
Like
Yeah.
Elon Musk,
You
fine. We're
see
going to Mars very soon.
exactly, exactly. You see today, black people, we are being turned backward. Why are we being turned backward? Because we are living out of our unconsciousness. We are living out of self. How did that happen? It happened when our culture was infiltrated. There is a way that we think, there is a way that we feel, there is a way that we do our things that is different totally from the way any other race on earth does that. And that is because, the presence of melanin,
Yeah.
of this melanin, melanin is, as Dr. Leila Africa would define it, is the driving force of all life. For the black person, melanin, drives your spirituality. It drives your emotional, your physical, your spiritual, psychological life, your mental life.
Mm-hmm.
It is being defined by this melanin. But when you read other books about melanin, not written by black people, perhaps, you're not going to get all these
Yeah.
facts.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why this book Melanin, bro, is actually one of my best books, bro. Is so good. And when I'm reading that book, one thing is that I'm not a science student. It's based on scientific facts,
Uh-huh.
scientific, everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying my best to get the understanding the way I can.
Yeah.
I believe a science student can get an in-depth understanding of the book that I'm getting, but it is actually one of the best books I've read so far.
Okay.
So black people were here.
Mm-hmm.
They manifested the civilization in Egypt, which history will tell us, and science will also tell us that it has been existing for like 6,000 years, 7,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you also want to understand that for a people to have been able to manifest something like that, it shows that they have been harnessing that for such a long period of time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
why are they saying yes? Why are they saying this? Because when they tell you that it has been for 7,000 years or for 6,000 years, they want you to feel like, okay, perhaps the black people have been here for like uh, 8,000 years or even less, then they manifested. No, you cannot just manifest a civilization like that. It takes a long period of time for a civilization of that magnitude to
yeah.
be able to be manifested. Yeah, so black people have been on earth for millions of years, bro. Millions
Mashallah.
of years. But
Mashallah.
if you want exactly,
But
if you want
actually,
to look
right
at
now that you mentioned that, well, it will lead to the same conclusion, even especially if one branches to like spirituality, in the sense that even if it took a short period of time to achieve the success that, let's say, the civilization in Egypt achieved, that's because of its spirituality, in the sense that look at Christianity, for example. When you see people like Jesus Christ, you see other prophets like Jeremiah, God reveals to them things, right? So prophets are actually geniuses in spirituality, so God reveals to them things. So now, as a scientist too, the geniuses too, they revealed the secrets of the universe. So depending on how much you connect with it, which is mostly spiritually, it gives you like the chance to have a big enough basket to absorb as much as you can. So which means, even if the
that's
argument
right.
that the 6,000 years is true, it means that the absorption that they got in, let's say, 50 years is equivalent to millions of years spiritually, especially as they say, like, one day for God is like a million day for man. So imagine that if God has to pump you energy that is worth one day. You see what I mean? So however
I
you look
love
at it,
I
it comes
love
back to the
that
same.
I
Yeah,
love
man.
that analysis. I love I love that analysis, brother. I love it.
Mashallah.
So you're right. You're right. And that's just that's just to tell you how spiritual, the black people have always been. And when you read this book, Melanin, you understand how melanin drives the spirituality of the black people, which makes them the most spiritual people on earth.
Mashallah.
The
Yes.
most spiritual people on earth. There are many things that uh, we can know about ourselves, about the reason why we're black, just reading that book.
Okay, Melanie.
Because
Absolutely.
presently,
Yeah.
I just feel like every black person could read that book, you know.
Yeah,
And
that's
let's just know why we are black and appreciate ourselves for black, for this blackness. Appreciate ourselves and know that it is it is a divine purpose for us to be this dark. Bro, look at the universe. The universe is made up of 85% of darkness, right?
mm,
And scientifically, it is scientific
yeah.
fact. It is made up of 85% of darkness. And okay, let me just take for an example. You and your wife,
Yeah.
when you get to produce, to procreate,
Yeah.
the child that will come forth will look like you guys, right?
Yeah. I actually have a son and he's dark. It is dark,
Thank
man.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. So the truth remains that if the universe is 85% darkness and the natural intelligence of the universe is a fluid intelligence, and this is the same intelligence that the black people, have been blessed with. And the black people are black, just like the universe. Bro, this is just a simple proof that black people descended from the universe. And they
Mashallah,
came
yeah,
here.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to go with uh the Bible facts of Adam and Eve. Just like a historian said, and this guy was a Caucasian.
Yeah,
I was watching a documentary, and this guy said that actually, if we want to go by the Bible narrative of Adam and Eve, we would understand that if that should be true, then it will actually refer to when the human genetic
yeah,
was interfered with. That's what he said,
yeah, I
and that's
see.
just to tell you that it's not coming from me. It's coming from a white guy. And if I'm to tell you, I will say the Bible narrative of Adam and Eve do not even relate to black people
Well,
because when
well,
was the when?
yeah, sorry to interject. It depends on like where you look at it from, because Islam has this same story of Adam and Eve, and
Okay,
but they believe that Adam, Eve, and even going forward from them, they were darker. You see, they don't try to make it political or like black person, but they know that it was darker. So, but the idea about different variations of humans like black, white, yellow, the reason is that it's described that when God wanted to make man, is said that God made man from dust, right? So in the Quran, it's narrated that
yeah,
the angels brought the dust. So they got it from the corners, the four corners of the earth. You see, so they got red,
okay,
yellow, all of those, and then God mixed it and made man. So over the time, so you have the dark person, but over time, since the dust was a mixture of all these colors, that's how every other color comes from that mixture.
think about.
You see what I mean? So
Oh,
in Islam, that's
oh.
yeah, that's a belief in Islam. Mashallah. You can continue. Sorry.
When you talk about something, okay, you're right. That's a belief in Islam.
Yeah, that's one
That's a
that
belief in.
merges with science. Like when you start looking at hereditary now, phenotypes, genotypes, varying, that way it explains, it marries that spiritual side of it to the physical aspect where you can boast that okay, you had one dark person and then other colors like emerge from it. You see what I mean?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
And and no, we are going to continue on that point.
Yeah.
It also makes you to understand that the man was created before the woman, right?
Yes. They explained that. Let me see. Yes, they explained that they fell in a deep sleep and then Eve was made.
Okay. But scientifically, we get to understand that the black woman has what is known as the mitochondria gene, the
Yes.
mitochondria DNA.
Yeah.
And this mitochondria DNA points to the first genetic ancestor, which means that the black woman is the greatest antiquity of humanity.
Mashallah. Yeah, I see. Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
original
if you
original.
exactly. So when you go by the mitochondrial gene narrative, you understand that the black woman is the greatest antiquity of humanity. She is actually, that already points that she was here first. So if if we see that she was here first, how come we are being told again that a man came before her? You
Okay.
see that there is a lot of conflict, you know, when this fact, when you want to join this fact, there's a lot of conflict.
Yeah. I see.
That is why, with the organic African paradigm, we try to bring about our teachings through three dimensions: science, soul, and intelligence. Science, soul, and intelligence. I don't know. perhaps after this our interview, right? We are going to kind of I will send you some of the lectures when
Okay.
you're free.
If I have time, yeah, I'll check
When
it
you're
out.
free,
Mhm.
when you're free, just listen, bro.
Yeah.
Like the lectures are life changing.
Uh,
They're life changing.
yeah, I see. But I have a
Yeah.
point, right? Like, just to
Mhm.
be able to, let me try to defend why, like if they say Adam was here first, you know that even as a man, as a fetus, when you're developing, um, there's a point where you're basically female, right? And then you morph into male. You see, so now if you're thinking too of God, I would argue that there is no need to even know who came first or who came second. And if one is told that Adam came first, it's very possible if God made it that way. Because first, we're dealing with God, right? Everything is possible through God. And then, from an engineering perspective, I'm a programmer by profession. When I program, I like to
Yeah.
reuse my code. I just like to configure it. You see, like I create almost like a template. Like you as a writer, you do that. You have a template, and then you can just be adapting. It's like you have a cookie cutter, and you can use the same cookie cutter to cut different kinds of cookies, and you can even adapt that cookie cutter to cut different types. But you want it to be as abstract as possible, so you can concretize whatever you want. You see. So now,
Exactly.
yeah, so now if you see that the male child itself is actually female, and then the maleness it actually morphs into male, then yes, the argument that the female was here first stands. You see what I mean? But again, the argument too that the male was here first still stands. So again, like in Islam, we don't really argue those things because they just say God revealed it like that to the prophet. But if you look at the detail, it leads you to maybe either paradoxes. And me, even when I do science or philosophy, when I see a paradox, I'm happy because I know that something deep is lurking beneath it.
Exactly. Something deep. Something deep.
Yeah.
And that is why us as black people,
Mm-hmm.
like I say, if we need to understand the true meaning of our existence,
Yeah.
we must go back to learn about the experiences of our ancestors who
Yeah.
were here first before any other person.
I see. But before we do
When there
that,
was
if we do that, wouldn't the world leave us behind? Because
no,
like you see the world now, the be it in political spheres, economic spheres, all of those socio, however they call it. And if we start going back, by the time we finish going back, then we want to come and go forward. Maybe they would have left us like, thousands of years
the
behind,
reason
and we will truly be
the
backward.
reason the reason the world is actually leaving us behind now
Yeah.
is because we haven't gone back.
Okay. I see.
Yes. And we would continue to be left behind unless we get back. And how we getting back? First of all, you cannot be going uh, you cannot just be moving because you left Yaoundé
Yeah.
and you're traveling towards real destination that you're going to.
Yeah.
But you just know that you may reach the north. You may reach the north. And the thing is that you're just traveling even you don't even know whether it's in Gaundare you'll be left in Garwa, or perhaps you know you're going to before you when you arrive Garwa Bula, you'll be going towards Centrafrique. You don't
Yeah.
even know that. It's like you're just traveling without a destination.
Yeah. Just
And
floating.
why am I saying that? Why am I saying that? Black people presently, we are moving, but it's like we are moving to nowhere
Yeah.
because
Yes.
we have gone out of our consciousness. And when I say that, what I mean is this: if you don't know who you are, if you don't know who you are, you will be living in the shadow of perhaps somebody beside you. And when you live in the shadow of someone beside you, you cannot exist in your full potential. and be able to achieve the purpose for which you are existing. Because you're not existing in yourself, or you're not living in yourself. You're existing in the shadow of another person. And that's what's happening to us blacks. Our reality has been so distorted. Our reality has been destroyed to the extent that our reality has been destroyed to the extent that we see no need, like we feel like there's no need going back. Let us continue just swimming in whatever is
Yeah.
being defined to us.
Hmm.
We go by it. But no, let me tell you why I say we should go back. We are not going back to remain backwards. We are just taking a step back to shoot into the future.
Yeah, I see. It's like when they say on the max, you actually take one leg behind. If you
Exactly.
watch anime, have you seen like Attack of the Titans? You watch anime?
No,
Oh man,
no,
there's
no.
this big, this you have guys in the movie, but they have the ability to transform themselves into big monsters. There's one that they call
But
the Colossal, I think Colossal Titan. And when the guy wants to run, first of all, takes steps back. Yeah, and then when he starts vanishing, man, like nothing can stop him. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, continue. Mhm.
so I feel like if we don't know this greatness that is embedded in us
Yeah,
as a people,
yeah,
we are never going to achieve our common purpose as a black race. We are never going to do that.
okay,
And we have a lot of conflict within us just because we don't have the knowledge of who we are.
yeah,
Because if we actually had that knowledge, just that knowledge will unify us within the shortest possible time. Bro, do you know for how long they've been preaching about Pan Africanism? Like the
yeah,
need for Africa to be one.
yeah. Well, uh, you know, one if you look at the culture, we are also primarily like oral history people. And if you see the real
Hmm.
African, you see like the griots, guys from Mali, like Tumani Diabate, Sidiki,
Yeah,
yeah, those people from those families, they are trained, they know how to use the mind, and they have the history of the entire bloodline there on their backs, and they have to transfer it over time. So now with such a people, uh, yes, they are very empirical. Such people will be very empirical because if you are carrying all of this thing and it has to be verified, you who is carrying it, for you to add, you have to see it. You see what I mean? So
that's right.
the African psyche is actually very empirical, like very scientific. That's why some of us are Thomas now. See, like Cameroon, all the discord that is there, that people want to see you do good work. If not, they come and tell you that, oh, you're doing nonsense. You see, like it's baked into the African psyche. You see. So now,
Yeah,
the European psyche actually lays. On that note, you see that the African psyche and the original African, uh, let's say, intelligence, it lays emphasis on auditory perception, like hearing. So this is like oral tradition. Then
yeah,
European now is like visual perception. That's why like Europeans, even from the Bible and Christ teaching, they always say like the eye is a lamp of the head or the soul, and the gate into the soul. For Africa is the ear. That's why originally and the people have argued this. I think Oyewumi, a Nigerian philosopher and gender professional, I think, she said that there were no women in Africa before. That's because uh, the society judged you based on what they hear you say. So whether you're male or female, that did not matter. You see. So when you talk, then that's when after that when you talk nonsense, then you know that okay, we should not take you seriously. They will not look at you because you're a woman. And that still happens today. Look at the rest of the world. When they go to Africa, how many times do you really see xenophobia? No matter how it appears, right? No matter how some people may say, okay, we think that Europeans and the rest are superior, so we welcome them. Keep that aside. The fact is that it's a very hospitable place. The rest of the world is trying to be like Africa. When people come vacation, they actually don't want to leave. You see, because you go somewhere, no
That's
one
right.
says you're white, you're white, you're white. You don't see that in Africa, or let's say
Yeah.
Cameroon, for example. So you see that that psyche is still there. You see, so now the European way with the eyes and the whole written culture, they would want to set all these laws that are written on stone, and then they can be following and following and following. So in a world that is primarily is dominated by that way of thinking, you see that the auditory perceptory guys will be having like conflicts coping with that world. So if we are trying to live a reality that is
Well,
based on that kind of a world, then we may not be able to go as fast as we need to.
I don't want to cut you short,
No, feel
but
free
you
actually.
know what you said
Hmm.
is not absolute because I would say
Yeah.
the African is not completely,
Hmm.
you know, his teachings are not completely based on oration or that because when you get to Egypt, go to Egypt,
Yeah.
you see writings on the wall.
Hmm.
First of all, first of all, you know, writing started in Egypt. The hieroglyphics
Yeah. Right.
started in Egypt.
Yeah.
So we've been writing, bro, for as long as you can think. We've been writing.
Have you heard the
That's why
story?
when you get to Egypt, you
Uh-huh.
see all those writings everywhere. You see you see a tomb. There are things that are written there. You see a wall. There are things that are written there that were written, in the times of old by our ancestors. There is a reason why we started, to have an oral tradition, and I believe this is from my own conviction
Yeah. Right.
because when Egypt was infiltrated first by the Arabs, then by the Europeans, and they came conquered Egypt. Africans started now to spread into mainland Africa to go into all other parts of Africa. And when we got now, this is how this oral tradition started. This is my own conviction.
Yeah. I
And we
see.
started now kind of revealing everything that we knew to our children orally. And we told them to also review them to our children's children orally. First of all, why did these people come to Egypt to infiltrate us? Uh, the writings, uh, and every other thing that was evident that they could see with their eyes. That is what attracted them to Egypt. Now we decided now that because we want our peace, perhaps we shouldn't be manifesting these things so that they come and see with their eyes and bring us problems. That's why we started now transmitting everything orally. And when you go by what is known as the Egyptian mystery system, this was a sacred order that the civilization was birthed out of this system. This is the first system of salvation that the world has ever known. And the Egyptian mystery system is actually where people like Socrates, they were initiates of this system. It was a sacred order. That means to enter there, you were initiated and you took an oath. And this oath was based on you are not going to put most of the things that you'll be taught there in writing. That is why somebody like Socrates, right?
Yeah.
They would say that he never had anything in writing.
Yeah.
It was because he was an initiate of the Egyptian mystery system.
Yeah.
He was an initiate. So when you go by that now, and you see now us leaving Egypt, because we want our peace to come into mainland Africa, you see that there was the need to start uh, giving everything to our children's children
Yeah.
orally,
Yeah. I
so that
see.
it will not attract these people to come and heal us, try to conquer us. We've always been peaceful people, bro. You will
Yeah. I
never
see.
hear that an African left here and killed millions of people over there for no good reason, bro. Like Leopold will come and do in the Congo, kill 15 million Africans, bro. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So,
I see. Well, on the note about
and
oral
all
tradition,
this,
yeah. On the note about
all,
oral
all
tradition.
this, all this,
Oh, sorry. Continue.
all this is being, all this is being influenced when you get to read the melanin I'm talking about. This is a book that I'm recommending for you, bro.
Oh, yeah.
When you
If I
get
if
to
I
read
have time, yeah. If I have time, I'll check it out. On what I was saying
it,
about oral tradition is mostly like analysis. So, but if you look at it critically, I think it's in the Phaedrus, where Socrates was recounting what happened when writing was discovered. So he described this thing where, back in the day, that were exceptional in those that were exceptional in their achievements, they were called gods. The same way like you have Achilles and the rest, either they're sons of gods or they're gods themselves. It was like to describe the level of achievement. So the Socrates recounts the story of the guy that discovered writing, amongst other things. So he went and presented it to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh looked at it. It was showing Pharaoh like, okay, this is this tool, you can use it for that. This is this tool, it's called writing, you can use it to capture things. So Pharaoh was kind of sad. So he asked Pharaoh that, oh, your highness, hope I've not done anything to sadden you. He said, you have and you have not, because you have cursed humans, in the sense that by writing, you have given them some technique and some tool that will make them very lazy, because writing is like a picture. When you look at it and you say hello, the picture keeps looking at you. It's not live. It's just carved there. So now, and that's why apart from Socrates' initiation in that order, you actually studied in Egypt, I think, for 20 years. So apart from his initiation in that order, he did dialectics. The dialogues are things, and that's why Platonic dialogues are things that when
yeah,
you go through the dialogue, it's like you are sitting there with them and having that conversation. And they don't tell you
exactly.
anything. They just only show you how people are asking questions, and you yourself, your mind is connecting to the Platonic world and absorbing the actual answers that are needed, right? So that's
That's
why,
right.
that's one reason too why Socrates, Plato himself, used that technique of not saying that this is this and this and this, because things can never be like that. Perhaps they prefer to just teach you how to think, and that's really the oral tradition. And think now of when you were growing up, you probably hear stories of sense basking. And I had uncles who would tell me stories of someone on a journey. They'll reach on a part that they have to sing for maybe some waterfall to give way for a door, right? And back in like in Egyptian and Greek traditions, you had stories like the Iliad told by Homer. Those were tales that were sung. You see, so that tradition too was there. You see, until the writing came. I just want to show you that like the oral tradition, even like Socrates mentioned that part in the Phaedrus, the dialogue, the Phaedrus. Yeah.
Yep, yep, bro.
I'll check the
Yep.
melanin book. I actually studied philosophy, and I really love Platonic philosophy, and then a bit of Egyptian stuff, but uh, and I'm trying to also absorb like the past, like to understand who I am and things like that. That's what actually took me to all of the studies that I did too.
After my when I'll be done with
there because it's the softest, and that's the Taoist. Like if you look at like the Taoist way of thinking, water is very soft. They can dissolve the hardest rocks. You see, and
exactly.
that aside, even as ice, it can be harder than rocks. You see, and then it just has you can learn everything about life in water. Look at the sea. They say, why is the sea the king of all streams? Because it flows lower than all of them. So there's just a lot that one can learn up from water.
That's right, bro. Water, they're related to this intelligence I'm talking about that the black people
Yeah,
possess. They are not able to manifest that intelligence
yeah,
in this era,
yeah,
because I can't say we have that,
yeah. Oh, I mean,
something.
like you mentioned, we've lost touch with the spiritual side. It's like a charger, right? If you don't charge your phone, it wouldn't come on. Or uh, imagine that, especially like if you look at Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the most gracious, most merciful. So it means that God can make you, or in that context, God, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, can make you in a way that even if you are not charged, you still stay alive. You see, that's because most
That's it.
gracious, most merciful. So when you unplug, you are like the phone that is not charged. But because of God's mercy, you can still be alive, but you just be wandering. You just be coasting. You see, but the arms are ever open for you to tap in and absorb as much as you can, and then receive the revelation that you need. So yeah, like we, and it's a long thing, but if you if you like scout through the spiritual different spiritual books, and when people talk of end time, there was a time when I had questions about that, but I got a bit of clarity for myself when I came across the words fullness of time. That's actually most Catholic theologians use that, like in the fullness of time, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at it, and if Allah is most, it means that for patience, for all of those things, God is the most patient. So what's stopping God from having this earth for eternity? So if it's there for eternity, perhaps there's no rush to end it. So which means there's time for us to recycle ourselves until we're all perfect. I don't know if that makes sense. So which means the fullness of time, and that's why the evolution, and for some other cultures, especially Jewish, they know that when they were captured as slaves, they could be blacks, as some people say, but they know that whenever things are rough, they captured as slaves, or when Hitler was there pumping them, that's because they had wronged God. You see, so they try to get back, and then a prophet will be sent to them, and they will continue moving. So, with that argument, when I was thinking about all of this, I was thinking perhaps yes, we blacks can be suffering now, but if we try to plug in back to the big eye and absorb as much as we can, then perhaps the fullness of time will see us back to where we need to be.
Okay. I like what you just said. How are we going to log back?
Yeah.
You
So
see that
yeah, right.
you see
There's
that
a very big
we
problem.
need now to
Yeah.
take a step back
Yeah.
to be able to plug back.
Mhm. Yeah.
How are
Very
we
true.
going to plug back? Let me just
Yeah,
put
very
that
true.
question to you.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Normally, I said that's a big problem because for you to plug back in, if we think of spirituality, most of what we call religion today, those are methods. It's like how someone is frying puff puff, and then one person says that use both hands to like squeeze it into the pot. Another person says use one hand. So religion now will be those techniques, right, for frying that puff puff. So, but we as Africans, we don't really the core really spiritual practices or religions that we have been either whitewashed or discriminated against, and it comes back to what you're saying about us not accepting our greatness. So we don't think that our things are great, so even our own spiritual practices we have left them, you see. So if we have to plug back in, yes, we have to take
Bro, please,
steps back.
1 minute. Let me get my charger. Let me get my charger.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Let me
All
get
right.
my charger, please.
Yeah, that's fine, I'm here.
Ah man.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, I actually what I'm saying, I'm actually merging it with all the thing, most of the things I've heard from you today. So yes, if we have to go back, right? I will summarize it by saying, if you look at Gaddafi's Green Book, right? He spoke about culture, and he traced it back, saying culture comes from tradition, tradition comes from natural law, right? And natural law actually
Yep.
merges into spirituality and maybe religion. And that's why and you will see that if you start looking back, you probably get to the person that founded maybe a tribe, and that person that founded a tribe found it through some inspiration or some encounter that bore the method that they used for their ethics, their metaphysics, and their epistemology, which morphed into us today. So if we are lost and then we start doing that backward induction, we'll be able to absorb all of those practices that are best. And even if we don't have the right tools, nature is most merciful. As you are going back, no matter how stupid you are, the whole journey of going back itself will inspire you and equip you with the tools that you need. Just like how when you're studying math, you can learn numbers, and then we're stupid. We learn numbers, then we're able to understand algebra, then we're able to understand calculus, then maybe differential equations, and then start branching off to all of those things. So yes, going back, I think yeah, it's optimal.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. And you know, all this religion we're talking about, if black people would need to go back, we need to go back. These religions that we have all over Africa, perhaps we may not see them in the past.
Yeah, yeah,
Because yeah, first of all, religion. I just I believe I know that religion is man made.
uh huh.
It's man made.
Yeah, that's what I said.
There
Is
are
a
a lot of
method.
things.
Uh huh.
There are a lot of things about religion that when we keep, we stick to religion so much, we instead uh we lose sight of who we actually are. I'm taking an example of myself, okay,
Yeah,
because I'm not talking based on the experience of anybody presently.
yeah, I
I'm
guess.
taking an example of myself. I was born in the Catholic Church. Like I was born a Catholic, a Catholic. My parents were all Catholic. My my parents worked with a Catholic
Uh huh.
church.
Yeah.
I got baptized in the Catholic church,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I won't lie to you, bro. The day that I got out, like I'm not getting the answers I want to get from this religion, and I decided to get out. I started doing my research about my Africanity and African spirituality.
Yeah.
Bro, there are a lot of things that were just
Yeah.
coming onto me naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally. A lot of answers just come to me. And these are things that I could not even think of, imagine while I was,
Yeah.
into the Christian religion or whatever.
Yeah. I see what you
I
mean.
could not think of.
Yeah.
I can't lie to you, bro. Like, it's like when I left that, I found myself. I found myself.
I see. I
And
have similar experiences.
seriously,
I have similar
I
experiences.
don't know. I don't know how I can explain it.
I
It's
can explain
like,
mine. You want to hear mine? I can explain mine.
let
Um,
me hear. Let me
yeah.
hear.
So, uh, I mean, you know, science is a tool that you can really use to explain everything, but through logic, you can at least know where to stop, or you can know where to understand your position, in the sense that let's say if I start thinking of going to Jupiter, right? Now that I'm sitting, I can't go. And in the simplest sense, that's because of logic. I'll use some kind of equivalence and kind of see if I can match my resources to the resources that can carry me to Jupiter, right? Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, it's frozen just at the time when we're gonna have a very. Yeah, you're back. Okay. Uh, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So I was saying that logic can actually help you understand your position. For example, I know that where I am, I can't really go to Jupiter right now. That's because logically that's not possible, right? I'll use logic. So I started trying to use logic in religion, right, to see where I can stop. I don't know if you see what I mean, to understand
Yep.
my position. So the first
Yep.
one that really struck me was like just the commandments. The first commandment is you shall have no image of me or engraving of me either in the heavens or below the earth, and that's the lines of the original translation. Is that line, no image of me? You see, and then now if you hear that command from God, the most wise, right, it means you have no excuse whatever to have any image of God. So I was saying that if, as a computer programmer, I write code and my compiler executes the code exactly as I said it, let me, as a human, try to execute that first commandment exactly as it is without giving any excuse, right? So from that thinking, I realized that as a Catholic, I was trained to pray to some white person or to some. I had an image in my mind that when I was praying that God, it was actually like a man and white hair and white skin or whatever from the pictures that had been implanted in my mind. So it really
That's
worried
right.
me. Yeah, it was worrying me so much. And then when I was seeing the statues, like in the churches, those were the things that actually were my gods. But how is that different from paganism? You see, so from all of those, when I was looking at all of those, I was like, nah, this does not make sense. This does not make sense. So I kept digging and digging and digging and trying until I actually went around. I like practiced Buddhism, uh, yoga, things like that. Until finally, I studied Islam. I studied Islam like in philosophy, and it really struck me as a clean religion. Like if you go to a mosque, you rarely see some statue. They will put mostly the writings, which are the sacred texts. There's no image whatsoever. And the greatest sin in Islam is to give Allah like a partner or to actually equate something else to God. You see, that's actually madness.
Yep.
So that was my own
Yep. You're
journey.
right.
That was my own journey where I experienced some of those things that I think you were saying you can't explain. For me, it was hard. It's something that when I think of it and then I look at, let's say, my whole village and imagine that maybe everyone in my village is Catholic, it's frightful in the sense that either I am too mad now that I'm having this thought, or as I'm having this thought and I really feel in my soul that I should have no image of God, but I know that a lot of the people who studied like me have that image in their heads. So it's a very difficult thing to swallow.
Right. 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 And that is one of the things that made me to have a lot of questions because if if my forefathers came here at first,
Uh-huh.
they were black.
Yeah.
and they lived here for so many years before any other race could emerge here on Earth.
Yeah.
Does it mean that the Creator did not like them to reveal everything, you know, to them and waited for a white person to come? Then he revealed religion and all this to him that he had to introduce religion to us. Then, everywhere we have these white images, as you saying.
Yeah.
Those are some of the questions I was asking.
Yeah. I see. And
But
that can
I
hurt.
also, I also, I
Yeah.
also had, I also had this understanding, or like, okay, our forefathers, they were here, and even at a time that these people were still experiencing the Stone Age,
Yeah.
they were using this great intelligence and manifesting things in Africa.
Yeah.
And this is the fluid intelligence that comes from the universe. So what do you want to tell me? This already proved that my ancestors were sent here for a purpose. So you bringing a religion that you just came yesterday, and you bringing something you want to get me to be serving or to be under that religion that you are bringing. When I was here, it already shows something
Yeah.
that you're bringing that because you want to dominate me. You want me to be under you. Meanwhile, I was here, I would say that I have a better understanding of how things are supposed to operate here, and how you need to have a relation with, you know, the outer world, the creator, how you need to have a relation with the creator.
Yeah.
So you coming now, it's like you're just bringing something that you want me to submit under, and you dominate me.
Yeah.
That's how I see religion.
Okay.
Religion is like it's made for domination, for some group of people to dominate another. That is why I cannot submit to religion, bro. No religion. I no one.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
No.
Yeah. And me, man, I really love Islam. I went to Bishop Rogan College, and there was a point in my life where things were really hard, like trying to cope with reality, work,
Oh, my phone is
situations.
going up, man.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We could continue our chat another time. We didn't even get to the cryptocurrency stuff, but we could arrange it some other time. Can you hear me? Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Nelson. That was a great chat. I think we can continue some other time. Uh, I thank you for your time. I really learned a lot from my chat. I would like to read the works that you produce. So thanks. Have a good one.